Right, still in the situation in Accra, Ghana. There's a protest as we speak, and it's ongoing in Ghana. We have quite a number of people who have come out, but the security forces are in Ghana as we speak, and they're there to protect the protesters. Moving on to South Africa, yes, we have the story, and we have the South African journalist and editor Candice Bailey to help us understand what exactly is the tension situation in South Africa. Good morning, Candice.
Good morning, Alisa.
All right, Candice, good to have you once again this morning. Now, it's the question of Jacob Zuma. Bring us up to speed with the happenings with Jacob Zuma. We saw him, at his house. We saw the human shield. We heard his comments. Where do we go from here now?
So Jacob Zuma appears in court this morning. Olisa, he has applied to the Pietermaritzburg High Court, asking them to stay the execution of the Constitutional Court order. So as you may remember, in February, Jacob Zuma was supposed to appear before the Judicial Commission on State Capture, which was set up by him about just over a year ago. He failed to appear before the commission. The commission went to the Constitutional Court and asked them to force him to appear before the court. He still failed to appear before the court, and then the commission went back to the court and said, he hasn't appeared before the commission. Can we charge him for contempt of court for failing to abide by the Constitutional Court order? The Constitutional Court deliberated over the matter. They took quite a while. They took more than a month to deliberate over this matter. And on Thursday, they filed they ruled, in fact, to say that indeed he was taking the processes of the court for granted, and he was taking the processes of the commission for granted, and that he should be charged with contempt of court. He should spend 15 months in jail, and that he had 5 days to hand himself over. His attempt to go to the Pietermaritzburg High Court is now to stop that arrest from happening. And he will now appear in court later this morning to argue that application.
All right, now Candice, what is the sentiment among the people looking at the crowd and the supporters that have been supporting him? And some, even his son, Edward Zuma, said that he will not go to prison. Do people support this move or the moves by the former president in any way?
Look, Lucia, I think that there's quite a significant supporter base of Jacob Zuma, particularly in KZN. He does have a big following. He does have a lot of people who are supporting him, who believe that he shouldn't go to jail, but this is a witch hunt, and that he's been targeted by both the courts and by the commission. I think, however, the general sentiment in South Africa is that Jacob Zuma has been taking advantage of the system, that he needs to be accountable for his actions, and that he needs to speak out. A lot of what Jacob Zuma is going to speak in the court about today is the reasons why he failed to appear before the commission. He's citing a medical condition, saying that it conflicted with his appearance before the commission. He's also citing the bias with the Deputy Chief Justice who runs the commission, Justice Chief Zondo. So he does have support for his arguments, but I think the general sentiment is that he should come forward and explain what he did and why he did what he did.
All right, Candice. So we expect him to come forward and explain later today at the Pietermaritzburg court. Now, on Sunday, we heard Jacob Zuma in that press conference at his house saying that taking him to prison based on with his health and coronavirus would be a death sentence. Those were his words speaking there. Now, do you think he'll get perhaps a favorable, withdrawal of his arrest from the court today? And what happens to his, sentencing of 15 months in prison? Will that be thrown out? Will he get, any positive, comments from the court? Will he get it? Because people are now watching Jacob Zuma and the legal system in South Africa today.
There are two sides of that's happening. There's a bit of a debate that's happening within the legal system at the moment. Some say, and particularly the commission, who are one of the respondents in the court case today, they are saying that the High Court, the Pietermaritzburg High Court, do not have the jurisdiction to override an order that has been placed by the Constitutional Court. The Constitutional Court is the highest court in our land, and they're the Supreme Court. What they say really goes. So the commission and the Helen Suzman Foundation, who was an amicus curiae in the initial case against Jacob Zuma, are both saying that actually the High Court doesn't have a standing. They cannot say what happens to Jacob Zuma, and they cannot not execute the order of the Constitutional Court. I must also reflect that between Friday and today, the Office of the State attorney, and this is the office that would essentially effect an execution or a court order. They would execute the court order. They have written to the Office of the Chief Justice saying that they would hold off until they get further direction from the Office of the Chief Justice. So they are basically not opposing the case that happens today. They do understand the processes need to unfold. It depends. We're not sure how today is going to rule. There may be a ruling that he doesn't have the standing and he should go to jail in the meanwhile. What we do know is that on the 19th of July, he has to appear before the Constitutional Court, where he's now applied for the rescinding of the decision that was made by the Constitutional Court. So all roads will lead to the 19th of July, where we will then understand what then happens with the decision by the Court. It is very unusual for somebody to appeal a decision by the Constitutional Court or to apply for a rescinding of that decision. So it's very unprecedented territory that we are in terms of our legal system and in terms of our former president, but we'd like to see how things roll out.
All right. Thank you so much,
Right.
Candice, for the insight this morning. We are keeping our fingers crossed and counting down.
It's Jacob Zuma. You know, he buys himself from some time, somehow, somehow. But we'll be waiting until the 19th to see what happens at the Constitutional Court. Well, thank you very much, Candice Bailey, editor and journalist live in South Africa.
Thanks so much, guys.
All right.
All right.